Hello and welcome back to lyrapulse, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of business strategy and the real life scenario consultants navigate every day. I'm your host Bhakti, and today's topic is one that hits at the heart of modern consulting: startup versus corporate strategy. What are the key differences and why do they matter for consultants? Joining me today are two brilliant minds from the field. We have Abhishek, who has worked extensively in the startup ecosystem, helping young companies define, refine, and scale their strategies. Welcome, Abhishek.
Thanks, Bhakti. Always thrilled to talk about strategy, especially in the fast-paced, ever-evolving startup world.
And we also have Dhananjay, a seasoned expert in the corporate strategy and transformation, who have advised some of the biggest players across industries. Great to have you here with us, Dhananjay.
Glad to be here, Bhakti. It's fascinating to contrast startup agility with corporate complexities. Both come with their own sets of challenges and lessons.
Let's begin with the very foundation. Abhishek, when you're working with startups, how do you define what strategy even means to them?
Great question. In startups, strategy often starts as a vision, usually the founder's vision. It's about identifying a problem, solving, crafting a viable product or service around it, and craving a niche in the market, all with the very limited resources. The strategy is fluid, often evolving every few weeks based on the feedback loops. We use lightweight tools like the lean canvas, rapid prototyping, and lots of real-time market testing.
So, it's about validating hypotheses, not finalizing roadmaps.
Exactly. You're not looking into a 3-year plan. You're looking for a product market fit and a scalable model.
Dhananjay, how does that compare with corporates?
Corporate approach strategy from a position of scale and legacy. They have already have a market presence, infrastructure, and often a complex organization structure. Strategy here is about sustainable growth, mitigating risk, and aligning with long-term business goals. Your deals with strategy planning cycles quarterly, annually, or even 5-year horizon. You use structural tools like SWOT, Portfolio Forces, and soft matrix scenario planning. It's more detailed, data heavy, and less iterative than a startup.
Let's dive into decision making. Dhananjay, how does that play out in a corporate setting?
Well, in corporate setting, it's layered and methodical. There are committees, governance, boards, steering groups. You might need to buy in from finance, ops, legal, and then final approval from the C-suite. Decisions do take time, but they're usually based on rigorous data and risk analysis. Consultant needs to be diplomatic, patient, and thorough. It's as much about change management as it's about strategy.
Abhishek, what about startups? Faster, I presume?
Much faster, sometimes too fast, but the decisions are often made by one or two people, usually the founder and CEO or CEO. This new bureaucracy, but also sometimes no validation. A consultant in the startup needs to be agile and able to challenge assumptions respectively. You may wear many hats, strategies, facilitator, sometimes even project manager or execution partner.
So, in essence, you are both strategist and operator.
Exactly. Good. Your slides better come with actions, not just ideas.
So, let's get tactical here. What tools and timelines are common in each setup?
Well, in startups, you are working in weeks. Think agile, OKRs, and not star metrics. We track things like CAC, LTV, churn rate, burn rate, run rate, and user activation curves. Our tools like Miro boards, Notion dashboards, Lightweight analytics give clarity, not complexity.
And in corporates, timelines are longer, often months. You deal with balance scorecard, crystal analysis, value chain mapping, and enterprise data dashboards. You are measuring revenue growth, profitability, operational efficiency, ROI, market penetration. There are more rigor, but also more inertia to deal with.
So, startups chase speed and iteration, while corporates emphasize stability and impact at scale.
Precisely, and that shifts everything: your tone, your data, your approach to implementation.
Now, let's talk about the role of consultant. How are expectations different?
Well, in startups, they expect you to be hands-on. You are advising on pitch decks in the morning and helping run A/B tests by afternoon. You work closely with product, marketing, and sometimes even investors. You need a strong bias for execution. Theory alone won't cut it. Well, in corporates, your role is more about facilitation, alignment, and thought leadership. You are helping access, make informed choices. Your being framework also manages ego, politics, and change. It's less chaotic but more nuanced. You are often a sounding board,
more than a sprint partner.
Now, time for some real world grounding. Abhishek, tell us about a recent startup engagement.
Sure, I work with Series A SaaS company that hit a growth plateau. We revisited the GTM strategy, identified a new customer persona, and also rebuilt the sales funnel using its product-led growth approach. Within 60 days, demo sign-ups tripled and MRR grew by 27%. It was intense but rewarding, and we iterated the whole strategy twice in 6 weeks.
That's fast paced impact. Dhananjay,
I led a strategic transformation for legacy retail brand going digital. We mapped customer journey, revamped supply chain processes, and introduced a digital loyalty program. It took 9 months, but led to a 15% increase in customer retention and 22% year-on-year growth for e-commerce. Patience and cross-functional alignment were the key.
final thoughts. For consultants navigating both worlds, what are your top takeaways?
So in startups, Bhakti, be fast, be fluid, but be thoughtful. Bring structure without stifling creativity. You need to be comfortable in chaos.
In corporates, listen deeply, map stakeholders, and make strategy digestible. Your recommendations must survive scrutiny and deliver ROI.
Amazing advice. It's a balancing act between agility and structure, speed and sustainability, vision and execution. That brings us to the end of today's episode. A big thank you to Abhishek and Dhananjay for sharing their invaluable insights. Whether you're advising a startup with a 6 month runaway or guiding a $1 billion company, understanding the context is critical. This is Bhakti signing off from lyrapulse. Follow us for more behind the scenes stories from the consulting world. Until next time, stay curious, stay strategic.